Welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. In today's video, we're going to take a look at another example of how to award badges. This time we're going to do it with touch events. This means that when a player touches a certain part in your game, we're going to give them a badge. So in this example that I'm going to use for the video, what I have set up is in front of this castle here, we have a part. Whenever the player goes up to this castle and touches this part here, they're going to receive the badge saying that they found the castle. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive in and see how we can do this in Roblox Studio. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Since this is the second video I'm doing on badges, I'm not going to go into super detail on this one. If you do want a more detailed explanation of what's going on with the script, go ahead and check out my first video, which I'll leave a link to on this screen right here. Alright, so just a quick recap of how to create a badge. To create badges, the first thing you want to make sure is that your game is published. After your game is published, then you want to make sure you're on the Home tab, and then click on Game Settings. Go down to Monetization, and then what you're going to do to make a badge is just click on the blue Create button here. When you do that, it's going to bring you to a web page that looks kind of like this here. You're going to fill out three different things. You're going to give your badge an image or an icon, which you can do by clicking the Choose File option and then selecting your image. After that, you want to give the badge a name, and then a short description so your players know what it's about. Once you fill out those sections, you're going to click on Preview, and then go ahead and create the badge. Once you create your badge, then you should see it in the Badges section here. If you don't see it right away, you might have to click on the refresh icon right here, and then after that, it should show up in the list. After you have that set up, we're going to go ahead and work on our script now. For the script, it's going to be a very simple touch event that we're going to connect to our badge. So in this example here, I just placed a part in front of the castle. So whatever part you're going to use to activate your badge, just go ahead and insert that into the game. And then inside that part, you're going to create a script. So to create a script inside any part in your game, you're just going to locate the part, click on the plus sign, and then click on Script. Like I mentioned before, I explained the script in another video, so I'm not going to repeat the same thing. I will give a quick recap though if this is the first video you're watching. So in this script here, we just have a basic template that you can use to award badges. So up at the top here, we just have a variable that's going to get the badge service. Next, we created a variable to get the player service. Here is where you're going to insert your badge ID. And again, if this is your first time watching this video, you're going to get this badge ID by going to the Home menu, clicking on Game Settings, that same menu we were at before. And then whichever badge that you want to award with this touch event, you're just going to click on the three dots, and then click Copy ID to Clipboard. Once you do that, it's going to be on your clipboard. And then to paste it, you can just right click and press Paste, or use the keyboard shortcut, which is Control V. This next section here is a function that we're going to use to award the badge. So the basic parts of this function, we have right here a pcall, which is going to try to get the information about the badge. If it's successful and it's able to get the badge information, then what we're going to do with this badge is check to make sure that it's enabled, which means that we can give it to the players. If that's true, then we're going to run another pcall function, which will try to give the badge to the player. And if for some reason there's an error, then we're just going to put a warn message down in the output that's going to display a message along with the error message right here. Okay, so that's a brief recap of the function. If you want a more detailed explanation, go ahead and check out that first video. What we're going to do now is just add the section of the code that's going to check for a touch, and then run this award badge function to give the badge to the player. Okay, to set up our touch event, what we're going to do is say script.parent. So script.parent is going to look one level up. So if we look here on the Explore menu, here's my script. So if I go one level up, that's going to be the part. So this is a reference for the part. And what I want to check for is a touch event. So I'm going to say .touched, and then if I do get that event, then I want to connect it to a function. Inside this function, we're going to have the other part. So this is the other part that touches the part in front of the castle. What I'm going to do with this other part, so in this case, since we're talking about a player, it's probably going to be like the player's leg, their foot, or something like that. I want to see if I can get a player from that object. So to do that, I'm going to say local player. That's going to be equal to players. So that's a reference to this variable up here, which is getting the player service. From here, I'm going to say colon, get player from character. And then inside the parentheses, I'm going to say other part. Since this is just a body part, I want to go one level up to get the whole character. To do that, I'm going to say other part dot parent. So what this whole line is doing, it's taking the leg or the foot that touches that part in front of the castle. So this part right here. And then it's going to use that to try to find the player that it's attached to. If it's successful and it's able to find the player, then what I'm going to do is very simply just run the award badge function and give it the player and the badge ID. So to run that function right up here, this one right here, all I'm going to do is say award badge. I need to give it the player. So that's a reference to this variable right here. And the other part that I have to give it is the badge ID, which I stored in badge underscore ID. And there we go. That's all there is to it. So using the same template that we used in the first video for giving a player a badge, instead of connecting it to when the player joins the game, we connected it to a touch event. So when that player touches the part in front of the castle, they're going to get a badge. And just as a reminder, if you're testing things out and you want to rerun your script and see if the badge still works, what you can do is go to your inventory, go to badges, locate the badge that you want to delete. So in this case, I want to delete this one right here. Go over to the 3 dots and then press delete from inventory. Now let's go ahead and test out the script and make sure it's working. Alright, so now I'm in the game, and what I want to do is go up to that part in front of the castle and step on it, and check to make sure that it awards the player the badge. Okay, so there we go. So I touched the part, and then we see in the bottom right that the badge was awarded. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. So this was just another quick way to award badges in your game. Instead of whenever the player joins the game, it's when the player touches a specific part in the game. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one.